Okay, so this is the series on understanding and creating your own dichotomous keys. This is the second half of part one. The first half was reading dichotomous keys, branching dichotomous keys. This is constructing your own branching dichotomous key. And just a reminder, this is what a dichotomous key looks like, where we take species and we discriminate. So we find features to put them into different groups. So if we're looking at the start of this one, we've got a choice whether the creature is symmetrical or asymmetrical. And if we're looking, say, at something like a jellyfish, we work out that it's symmetrical. Our next choice is bilateral or radial. So these are opposites of the same. So we make our choice there that it is radial. That means it's the same all the way around. And therefore, our answer is that what we have is a jellyfish, Cnidaria. Okay, so this is a way that we can work out different animals, different plants. We can classify things, a dichotomous key. So you're about to make one using these here. You may have already categorized these, classified them earlier on. Most of you used two groups. One, the tools. So you put the scythe with a spade, scythe with a spade with a pole saw, and your second group was your wheat, potatoes, and coconuts. That's one way of classifying. There are other ways that I've mentioned earlier. So we're going to take these things. So we'll come up with a title up the top. So our title will be 6 objects, because they're all a bit unrelated. And what we're going to do next, we're going to separate it into 2 groups. So our one group will be, let's say, edible. So I'll put a text box in here. Edible. Can't quite see where that's going. Great. And our other side would be the opposite of that, which would be non-edible. Okay. So put that in over here. I'll put that down about there. Okay. So we've just cleanly shaven our group into 2 equal halves. It doesn't have to be equal halves. Okay, with our edible side, we're then going to try to break that up. So our edible, we're focusing on our yellow circled ones here, so the coconut, potatoes, and wheat. So what is something that we could separate these things apart? And I'm going to separate them by shape. So we've got one that's round and one that's not round. So our coconut and potatoes will be round. So I'm going to take the edible down this way. And to give myself a bit of space, I'll bring that a bit further over. And again, I'll put my text box in. Don't know how it's going to work this way though. It's all guesswork now. Perfect. And not round. As my 2, somewhere about there, I'm hoping. There we go. All right. Now, because there is only one not round edible item, I'm at the end of this street. So what I do now, I just bring that down a little bit further, and I have an answer. Now I normally put my answers in a box. So put it in a box, or sometimes a cloud, and I would write in that box, I would write my answer, which was wheat. So to write wheat in there, so it stands out. Okay, so I have to take my 2 round items, that's the coconut and the potatoes. I have to take them further down. And there I was thinking the page would extend down further. So I'll take that down. I'm going to have to squish it up now. I'll take it down and I will have my difference being that one grows above the ground and one grows below. So ideally I drop this right down beyond wheat, but that's not going to work. I put one above the ground, one below the ground. I'll actually do it on the next page. Oops. Page below. And so if we go from that one, I'm going to take the round as the drop down. Sorry, this should be all on the same page. Didn't work out ideally. So I'll go down to my two options now. So in this one, grows below ground. And on my other one, I'm going to put grows above ground. And then I have my answers for this one. So I'll place that there. So they're my clues, so I know which street to take, whether I go left or right. I haven't got to the bottom yet, so I've got to bring that down. And as I said, we can do a box or a cloud. They're my preferences. So I'm going to do a nice cloud for this one. I'm going to do a big cloud, and in that cloud I'm going to write potato. Fairly poorly. And for this one, I'm going to write in my cloud wheat. Okay. So we've done one side. We've still got to do the other side, although we won't actually be doing that in this example, but you would do the same for your non-edibles. And just to keep it clean, you would do a drop down line that goes all the way beyond, so it's nice and clean. And you've always got the two choices each time, and they should go to somewhere. Since I've done coconut, since I've done potatoes, and since I've done wheat, they shouldn't be appearing again. So you don't have to use the round clues, you don't have to use these things as well. They've already been sorted out and classified into groups, so you only have the sigh, the spade, and the pole saw. That you look at differences in those and you would classify those objects. So that was my example. I've left a worksheet, and this is what the worksheet looks like. You have to group these triangles, okay, and find out ways to break them down. So you might look at certain features. The features could be the border, whether it's straight or wobbly edge. It could be the fact one has a single hair where one has multiple hairs. You probably notice that some of these have eyes and some of them have no eyes. Some have dots, some have no dots. Some have a mouth, some have no mouth. So these are some of the features you could look at to try to break these things into groups and break them down till you get individuals. So at the bottom, in your little clouds or boxes at the bottom, when you have, let's say, hair versus no hair, then below that you'd put 109 with eyes, 109 without eyes, 110, or whatever your classification system might be. So next lesson we'll be starting on sentence dichotomous keys, and thanks for listening to this one.